Another day, another opinion. Welcome to the Ministry of Random Opinions. Today I want to talk about UK politics. Before you switch off, it's not that bad, and it'll be short-ish. I just want to I just want to give my opinion, I guess, and just make some comments on the UK political landscape. Certainly after the local elections that have just passed and the rise of reform, I guess. Maybe some others gained as well, but it looks like reform have done incredibly well, and it pisses me off a little bit. It pisses me off a little bit. You'll notice a theme throughout my videos on this channel that things piss me off and then I tend to talk about them. But, this one's kind of been brewing for a little while since the local elections, and I kind of don't get my fellow Brit at the moment. I don't get why people are voting for reform. It doesn't feel... It could be a protest vote, right? But it's hacking me off. Now, the reason why it hacks me off isn't necessarily because reform got a few councils and became mayor in various different places. Reform is reform. It's come. I don't know whether the party is even sustainable. Its message seems short-lived. Of the moment, maybe, and pulls on few strings that it knows will gain ground, and therefore it has some sort of limited success. But to be honest, what I guess the problem is more than that, is that because political parties do most things to appease voters, to attract voters for the next election and the next election, whatever reforms say now, the ruling party, in this case Labour and Keir Starmer, will see that and will start introducing that rhetoric into their own policies and politics. The sound bites are already starting to become clear, and we're starting to hear them. Home Secretary recently announcing new immigration and tighter immigration laws. It's just really the start of it. What will happen is, because the ruling party see the prevailing winds in the voter community, they will start to adopt even extreme policies, and that worries me a little bit. I don't know what the Reform Manifesto looks like, but I would imagine there's some synergy to Project 2025 over in America, and what's going on there. And he's definitely leveraging that. Now, elsewhere on the planet, Trump's rise has led to right-wing demise. So we've seen it in Canada, we've seen it in Australia. We're probably going to see it elsewhere, right? These countries are being influenced negatively by what they're seeing in America, and yet we seem to be adopting it almost. And I do not want to be the next America. I do not want to walk down the street and see people being lifted off the street and deported. I do not want to see the demise of the welfare state, international development, although that's partially already gone. Thanks, Keir, for that. It's just remove the soft power that we had, if we had any. Ridiculous. But if we start to see the same environment, there's kind of misinformation, post-truth society of kleptocracy and autocracy, which, if that's where we're heading, either by dint of reform, influenced by Reform's manifesto, or by Reform themselves, if they ever get into power, and oh God, if they did, I'd have to leave. I don't think that the country would be bearable. I think a lot of people would be harmed. I think our economy is on a knife edge anyway. I don't know whether the Labour Party are really helping it that much. They will say they They are. On a previous video, I kind of talked briefly about the UK-US trade deal, and I just don't see it. It looks like it was put together in 15 minutes. I don't think it's helping us. The need to get closer to Europe in the light of a new geopolitical landscape means that we probably should be closer to Europe, whether you're a Brexiteer or not, whether you were a Remainer or a Brexiter. It doesn't matter. All right, we do need to have ties with Europe. We need a consistent and stable trading partner that's close by. We need freedom of movement, whether you like it or not, and you can slap lots of rules on who comes and who's not, the unworthy or versus the worthy, if you like. It sounds very draconian, but that's what's happening anyway. And we need those opportunities. We need the ability to be closer to Europe right now, just simply because even if only what's happening in Ukraine right now. And so, having a kind of European alliance, not necessarily membership of the EU, but a European alliance, for me makes sense. I don't know why it isn't making sense to others. It certainly doesn't make sense to Reform, who are hell-bent on believing that, we get special treatment from the US and other trading partners because we're out of Europe. Is that true? Is that not true? Is the media skewing it? So the news feeds that I receive are making or skewing it out of proportion. But for me, if Reform are going to grow up and be sustainable, they need to find a more centrist political ground, and they need to appeal to more people. I hope that's the case. I hope that stops them ever getting into power. But their influence is already being felt, and that's leaking into the Labour Party. So, look, globally, we need to be in a better place. We need to not take advantage of the situation with the Americans, but we need to make reparations, because the global trading environment is different. We are going to have to make new alliances if we want to succeed. If we want our economy to move on positively, to grow, and support our state, because that's what we're talking about. I am not talking about business growth, for business growth's sake. I am talking about business growth to increase the public purse, to provide the services that we need as an organisation, as a country, and do better. Right? We have the opportunity to make something here. This country is really, really good at doing high-end product manufacturing. It's really good at services. It's got a huge banking centre and financial centre. There are real reasons to believe in this country, but the rise of populism, I think, will harm it. The adoption of populist policies is going to harm it, and this reticence or inertia to trade, to go out and make deals. Maybe it's competence in the government, maybe it's inexperience in the government, but someone needs to make the move. Someone needs to capture the initiative, and support the US by all means. If we want to align and be allied to the US, I think that's becoming more difficult these days. But if we want to be aligned to the US, then we should do that with respect to the US. But we should make sure that we have trading routes and trading agreements that mean we are not dependent on countries, which now it would appear that even the most stable countries can be destabilized quickly if you put the wrong guy in power. I say wrong guy, in my opinion, and it's the Ministry of Random Opinions, random as it may be. I'm interested in your view on this. It's unsettling. I think through actions of our government, certainly around the trade agreement, I think we were a bit of a laughing stock. We looked like a little bit like we were sucking up, and I don't really want to be associated. Donald Trump will give Donald Trump a good news story right now. I think that that there are lots of reasons why that shouldn't be the case. I'm not going to go into them here, but I really hope we sort of grow up a little bit. We understand what government is here to do, which is to serve the population of the country and to make it better. And there are things that we can do that are being mooted in Canada. I love Mark Carney's plan. That those are the things that we should be adopting. That's the attitude we should be taking. That's the negotiation stance we should be taking. And what we shouldn't be doing is falling back to the lowest common denominator and voting reform because we're worried about immigration. There are better ways to do it than just the draconian methodology that's being ponied up by some right-wing kind of party, political party. It's barely a political party, by the way. You know, I've never seen anything, you know, significant from that party. I don't really know what direction it would take if it ever got to government, because I haven't really seen a full manifesto. They probably won't exist. I'll go and have a look in a minute. Anyway, thank you for listening to my inane dribble. If you have any comments, put them below. Like and subscribe. This is a social commentary experiment. And what I'm trying to do, without advertising it or putting it anywhere, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to grow the channel organically. So your subscriptions, they absolutely help. So help me keep spurting my nonsense opinion into the ether. Have fun.